Speaking of dividing and conquering, the in no small part down to you, we are aware of the many, many tractors that line the roads and highways of Holland. Tell us about that for the Brits that don't know.
Right. So if you talk about intrusive governments, then this is probably what people should think of what could happen to them. So the Dutch government is now expropriating our farmers because of nitrogen emissions. So again, what we've talked about before, they have a crisis. You could say a natural crisis or a made-up crisis. I think personally it's a made-up crisis.
Like most crises.
Like most. And then you say, okay, and you citizen, you farmer, you whomever, apart from me, you're going to have to fix it by giving up your rights. Because, when there's a crisis, that's the greater good, and you have to give up your individual right to do well for the greater good. So they're saying there's a nitrogen crisis, so it's all in the climate agenda, we need to save the world, we need to save the nature, and the farmers need to go. Not the airlines, not, the big capital, no, the Dutch farmers, because their cows far too much. That's quite literally one of the reasons.
Right.
So they're saying you need to give up 50% of your land. That's basically what it comes down to. Depends a little bit of which region, but 50% of the cattle farm will need to be cut by 2030.
To be turned into what?
To lower these nitrogen emissions and to preserve the nature and to help the climate.
But surely all that's going to do is make meat really expensive, make people's diets worse, and all of that sort of stuff. So that just feels very much like an agenda, which is that there's an ideological agenda that we're all going to have to sort of eat seeds and locusts.
Bugs, yeah.
And bugs. Well, Gavin Newsom can go and dine at the French Laundry with his mask off and eat, a prime ribeye.
Yeah.
It's why. What do the Dutch people think about this? Where are the voters?
So the latest poll, because the media is working extraordinarily hard to make it seem like there's no support for the farmers in the Netherlands, but the Netherlands is a farming country. We are the second largest exporter of agricultural products. Most of these farmers have had their businesses in their family for centuries on end. So this is not just like, oh, you started something and now we're going to rob you of it. No, this is your heritage, that they're taking away from you. And I feel like a lot of ordinary people who aren't necessarily so political are like, this goes a little far, because the vaccine and COVID and with people dying, that type of crisis was very noticeable for people. But a nitrogen crisis is a little more abstract, even though they do a great job with fear-mongering the youth and telling everyone that in 20 years we're going to die because the ocean level is going to rise too much. But still, there are a lot of people saying, oh, why are you coming after these people? That's a little strange.
Have you also noticed, actually, which is one of the other things I noticed, I was watching a music video of a band I liked on the weekend who wrote a song about 9/11. Now, 9/11 was a crisis, and everyone was calm. It was like, there's two planes and everything's on fire and buildings are falling down, and the people that were running it were calmly going about their jobs. So I've sort of come to the theory that the more people go about something, the less there is to worry about it.
Right.
And that's sort of indicative of the human condition. Anyway, that's sort of boring segue. But back to the farmers. So it's a sort of amorphous concept for the Dutch public to understand. They don't know whether they're, because everyone wants the planet to be a cleaner and better place, but we are making it a cleaner and better place with every new invention and all of this sort of stuff. So why the regressive thing? And is Mark Rutte, is that who's in charge? Mm-hmm. What's he like?
Oh, he's the worst. I mean, the guy officially is the leader of a somewhat liberal right-wing party. But this man, the only time you ever see him happy is when he screws over the Dutch people and he's having drinks with someone like Trudeau.
Yeah. Oh, God.
This man is he's the archetypical globalist, really. Somebody who never even speaks of the Dutch interests anymore, even though he's our prime minister. He doesn't care.